Everyone coming out to our second press conference on the city's water situation. We'll get started in just a second. Welcome and thank you for joining us to the City of Beaumont's second press conference on the city's water situation. I'm Lauren Monitz, the Communications Director. We want to thank you for your continued commitment to our city and making Beaumont better, and reiterate that the health and safety of our community is our top priority, along with the communication and transparency. We will continue to provide the community updates as necessary to ensure the correct information gets to as many residents as possible about this situation and anything else that's going on. Today you'll hear updates from our four speakers, which include city staff, administration, and the mayor about where we're at with the water situation. There will be time for media partners to ask questions at the end, so please hold any questions until then. We implore you to ask anything you are interested in, as there will not be time for interviews afterwards. Our first speaker is Bart Barkowiak, Director of Public Works, who will be giving an overview of where we're at with the current situation, in addition to our plan for future infrastructure improvements. We want the media and residents to know that we're future-focused and that the city hears all the citizens' concerns, and we have a multi-year plan committing funding to a number of different projects, including millions and millions of dollars for water and sewer improvements, which we can't wait to share with you. Without further ado, Bart Barkowiak.
Good morning. Our region of Texas continues to be in an exceptional drought. This is the highest intensity drought assigned by the Texas Water Development Board. The city of Beaumont remains under stage 3 drought restrictions. We would like to thank the citizens for helping us to conserve water during this challenging drought. The city of Beaumont converted to free chlorine for water treatment on August 22nd in order to address nitrification in the water distribution system. We ended the free chlorine conversion on Tuesday, September 12th, and resumed water treatment with chloramines. Water crews have helped speed the full conversion to chloramines throughout the system with selective flushing. At this time, it is expected that the vast majority of the distribution system is back to chloramine-treated water. Water production is back to normal operations, with the exception of treating and pumping a much greater volume of water than we usually do at this time of year. I'd like to thank all the city's water production staff for their hard work during these drought conditions. I'd like to switch focus for just a minute to the longer term investments that the city is making in water and sewer infrastructure. Reviewing the recently published 5-year community investment plan, the city has invested $30,435,000 in water projects, including $2,825,000 directly focused on water distribution lines. The chlorine dioxide project to remove iron and manganese from the surface water is underway, and the design is currently 90% complete. This project is on schedule to be implemented in early 2025 and should greatly reduce discolored water within the distribution system. Over the next 5 years, starting in fiscal year 2024, the city is planning to spend $43,935,000 on water line replacement and rehabilitation within the distribution system. Total projects over the next 5 years focused on water total $123,225,000, with another $6,095,000 being spent on water lines related to the TxDOT I-10 project. The city also plans to spend $57,080,000 on sewer projects over the next 5 years, with an additional $15,305,000 being spent on sewer lines related to the TxDOT I-10 project. All of these projects are focused on improving the overall operations of the city's water and sewer system. The 5-year CIP plan has been published to the city's website and is publicly available for review. Summary spreadsheets of the water and sewer investments within the CIP plan are available in the back of the room. In conclusion, I wanted to speak briefly about our recent water system inspection. TCEQ conducts these inspections roughly every 3 years. After the inspection is complete, an exit interview form is generated. On the form itself, it specifically states that the information does not represent final TCEQ findings related to violations. From the exit interview, city staff will work with TCEQ to resolve the various issues published in the exit interview. We fully expect to be able to resolve all of the items without incurring violations. At this time, we have resolved just under half of the items on the exit interview and continue to work to resolve the remaining items. Just for reference, the last published violation the city incurred for water was in 2016 and was resolved at the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bart. Next up, we have Mike Harris, Director of Water and Sewer Operations.
Thank you. Good morning. Since the week of August 24th, our department has been 100% centered on water leaks. We have made good progress, but there's still a great deal of work to be done, and we appreciate the citizens' patience with us. Our main goal still is to keep water inside the distribution system. Therefore, our focus is leak repair. Leaks are prioritized by the volume of water loss. I would like to thank the men and women of water utilities for their long hours of dedicated service 7 days a week in repairing water mains. In addition to the in-house crews, we have contractor crews that are working on leak repair as well. We also have put out an additional emergency contract, which we hope to bring in more contractors. In total, we have been averaging 10 to 14 repair crews per weekday. We would like to give a huge thank you to Mustang Special Utility District, who brought staff from Aubrey, Texas, a completely voluntary emergency crew as a resource recommended by Representative Dave Phelan's office to help us at absolutely no cost to the city. We know and we understand how frustrating it is to see a leak running for several weeks when citizens have been asked to conserve water. And we promise we hear you, and we're getting to them as fast as we can. We're making good headway, but we still have 190 leaks remaining in the system. 12 of these are major, 178 are minor. To date, we have fixed 176 major leaks, 275 minor leaks, totaling 451 leaks. The city recently launched a new interactive map on the website so you can check if a leak has already been reported to us or see the progress of the ones that have been completed. This is accessible by clicking the circle button on the home page that says interactive maps. You can help us by continuing to report new leaks or any water issues you have to 311. If you see a wooden stake in the ground with a blue paint, it has already been marked, assessed, and is in our queue based on the amount of water loss. And don't be alarmed if you continue to see hydrants flushing, because it is still required by TCEQ to maintain water quality. We know they're on, and we will keep them running only as long as necessary for health and safety purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we'll hear from the city manager, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Laurie. I won't have as much to say as these gentlemen. They're giving you more details of what's actually happening with the situation. But first of all, I'd like to thank the press for being here today, those who have taken their time to come and help us share the story. Thank you for helping us share this story and getting the information out to the public that's needed to get out. Also, I'd like to recognize Councilmember Randy Felshaw for being here today and Councilmember Chris Durio, so thanks to you for being here today. The city remains diligent with this situation. It's a critical situation, but it's not one that's just unique to the city of Beaumont. This is an issue that's playing out across the entire state of Texas. The cities of Houston and San Antonio and Austin are all going through this critical drought situation. So it's not just Beaumont that's going through this situation. So much so is that's why the governor put a declaration in place for the entire state of Texas for a drought. Ours is more severe because it's an exceptional drought situation. We did get some rain, but that's not nearly enough for what we've gone through in this situation here. So while things have felt better, we're still in that critical situation. As a city, we continue to put all available resources into this drought water issue situation. Again, I'd like to thank Mustang SUD also for coming down and assisting us with leaks and repairing leaks. They're out of Frisco, and we thank them for being here. Also, we've done things too as a city. We've gone out and issued contracts for private contractors where city council allocated more dollars to where we could go out and hire private contractors to assist our contractors in repairing leaks, which we maximized the amount of crews we put on the street to do that. So the drought continues. The recent rain helps, but it certainly doesn't break a drought for sure. We ask for your patience as a citizen. We ask for your patience as people of Beaumont that use our system. We're working as hard as we can. Our employees have done a fantastic job in what they're doing, and they continue to do a fantastic job in getting it done. So we just ask for your cooperation and patience. With that, after all, too, we're dealing with older infrastructure here, and with older infrastructure during a dry time, it creates more issues for us. So we just ask you to be part of the solution. We're working hard to get things done, and want you to feel good about what the city's doing and know that we're maximizing what we can do 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Our mayor's up next.
All right, thank y'all for being here today, especially the media and certainly the other council people that were able to be here, and the public that came. It's a privilege for me to be up here and working with as your mayor and working with this city staff and the management. I see every day the hard work that they're putting in, and I know it is a frustrating time. And they occur from time to time. It seems like we move from one to another. And a drought, this is our first time to experience that. I think we are responding really well, but it is an ongoing problem, and it was great to receive the rain, but we do need more rain, so there will continue to be line breaks, but we're continuing with the repairs. We're on top of it more than we've been in recent times because we've got additional crews out there. Certainly the cooler temperatures and hopefully more rain will continue to follow. But use 311, it really works. I know you're also reaching out to your council people and myself, and I appreciate that. But I do want to remind you that you do use 311 when you're having any problems with your water. And also, it's very impressive. We do have the interactive map that's already been shown here that shows all the leaks that, and it even categorizes them as major leaks or less minor leaks, I would say. The ones that have been fixed and the ones that are still waiting to be done. So we're being as transparent as we possibly can be to get you information. You've got to remember every day is a moving target, and we can be up here and there can be a major line break that creates some other challenges right now. So we're going to respond as needed, and I know this, I have 100% confidence in our management team and the work that they're doing. They are at it 7 days a week. And also I want to thank Speaker Phelan's office and Mustang Special Utility District for coming down, because that made a big difference as well. So, and I think at this point, we'll
Sure.
take any questions.
Open up the floor for questions if anyone has anything. Anyone have anything? Okay.
This is for either the mayor or city manager. Either the manager. Just give me one moment. Oh, yes. Sorry. So first off, do you think the public understands why the water is an issue as far as the conversion and the leaks?
Yeah. I think people, when it affects them, they get more concerned, just from my experience. I know we've been putting out a lot of information, but oftentimes, and it's just because of the busyness of life, when everything is going okay at your household, you're not necessarily paying attention, but when there is a problem, that's why we are continue to put out information daily on our Facebook page, and it's up on our website, which is an excellent website to give people information. And I feel like at times we are certainly putting out new information every day. A lot of it is very similar to the prior day, but for those people that hadn't had that problem and hadn't been paying attention because they hadn't needed to, that information is very important to them.
So you feel that you've communicated through social media posts and these press conferences, you've communicated the message since the beginning?
I believe we've continued to get better at it in terms of the words that we use, because oftentimes with this drought, it being the first time, how we communicate and the words that we use for people to be able to understand and for us to understand how we can best communicate have changed, but the process and everything we've been doing has only gotten better and more refined. So I do believe that we are doing the best job that we can possibly do.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Thanks for your question. We appreciate it. Our goal is to communicate this situation as clearly as possible. And if there is an avenue that we're not reaching, we'd like to hear that from you, from any of you. There's some information we need to get out. We meet daily to talk about, strategize as a task force before we release information. And we release information daily to the press, and we put it through our own social media and media methods. So if there's more we can do, we'd like to hear from you, but our goal is to totally be transparent and communicate this to the public.
And lastly, I know most of these problems are caused by the severe drought, but are all of these problems that the city's water has, are they exclusive to summer? Could we see them again in other seasons?
In terms of the discolor water, we have had that in other seasons, and but that in terms of the lines breaking, I believe the drought has been the major factor in that.
Yeah, and the mayor's correct. I mean, it's highly likely that you're going to see this more in summer because of the heat conditions, but in a drought where you don't have rain, even if the temperatures aren't really high, the soil will dry out, and that shifting soil will cause us problems with the water lines.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yep.
Megan Zaplak, Beaumont Enterprise. When is the time, wait. How long do y'all think the repairs will take to fix the remaining 190? And also, is the Mustang group still helping?
The time frame for the remainder of the repairs, it's kind of open-ended because we get new leaks daily. So therefore, we're having to cover the new leaks and also catching up the balance of what we're carrying on the books in the past. So there's not really necessarily a dedicated time frame. And as far as the Mustang subgroup, no, they had returned back to Aubrey, Texas Saturday.
Is there a way Beaumont residents can see how their leaks are being prioritized?
Through the interactive map, they can determine by their address if the leak has been prioritized as major or minor.
Where is the money coming from for the contractors?
That's, in a previous council meeting, we went to the city council and asked for authorization for dollars to work this situation. So the dollars for the contractors has been allocated or authorized by the city council, and it comes from the water utility fund, which basically dollars for that. So it's been authorized and allocated.
How much has it spent thus far for the contractors?
The last report we had on the last invoice with the contractors, it was roughly 52,000.
And this is a question for Mayor Roy West and Kenneth Williams. What is it? Y'all haven't been working for the city through any major hurricanes yet. What have y'all learned in this emergency that can be used in the future?
Well, I know that I've learned that we have an experienced staff that assesses situations well and responds, and then pivots when they need to pivot based on the challenges that are presented on any given day. Oftentimes, when you're in any natural disaster or experiencing unusual times, you're going to have to be able to pivot at a minute's notice and go off script at times because you're experiencing new things. And fortunately, we have a lot of staff that have been through here for a number of hurricanes. I've had quite a bit of FEMA training, and certainly nothing like it would be like having a hurricane here, but I do know that our city staff has a lot of experiences and a lot of protocols, and I feel like we're well equipped for anything that comes our way, and we will do an excellent job taking care of the city of Beaumont and the residents of Beaumont.
Thanks, Megan. Well, I've actually experienced hurricanes. Having been an emergency management coordinator for 9 years, I actually worked through Hurricane Rita and also Tropical Storm Allison with lots of experience in working at it, along with other emergency situations such as a space shuttle disaster. So it's like any disaster. We have to take it seriously. While this is not a hurricane, it's not as evident, and people don't see the disaster, so they tend to look at it differently. So we want everybody to realize that this is a disaster. The governor has issued a disaster declaration, and this is not a normal time. So as far as what we can do differently or what we can do, I just want the public to realize that this is a real situation, and it's not something that's created by the city. It's created by nature, basically. And, we basically react into nature, and, it could happen again. Whether it's a hurricane, whether it's a drought, or whether it's a freeze that could burst pipes. We can't say what won't happen. But I guess as far as here, it's a new phenomena for Beaumont, so we just want people to realize that this is a real incident and take it seriously.
One last question. So for the $50,000 that y'all spent on the contractors, what accounts have they come from?
Our fund balance, water utility fund balance, so we have separate funds, an enterprise fund, and one is for water and sewer activities. And so it basically comes from those dollars from fund balance.
Anyone else?
Good morning. I just wanted to ask, if there's any residents or business owners that are still facing, water issues, whether that be weird odors, weird tastes, or discolorations, what can they do to make members aware of that? Would 311 be that resource? And how much longer would that timeline be for the water to go back to our normal?
Yes, 311 is the point of contact to call if you have any water issues, whether it be discoloration, odor, any of that nature, 311's point of contact. We have went back to the chloramines last week. We flushed through the system through last week and the weekend, so we should be seeing things back to normal through the remainder of this week.
Anyone else? Okay, if that's it, we will.
I have one more left. I'm so
Nope,
sorry.
You're fine. Ask whatever you.
So the money that's been used for the water leaks, is it coming from like state or federal government?
No, it's coming from local funds, city funds. But if there happens to be a declaration that meets certain thresholds or certain dollars amount, we could possibly get some reimbursements from the state of Texas or from the FEMA, federal government. But, there's a way to go. It depends upon how that's declared in the future. But right now, it's coming from local dollars that we hope could get reimbursed.
So is the state or federal government going to refund the city some of that money?
We don't know at this time. While there's been a declaration, it's kind of a process. The governor issued a declaration that puts the state of Texas in line for possible reimbursement from FEMA, depending on the dollar amount of that event. The Mayor West has issued a declaration for the city of Beaumont, would put us in line to be reimbursed from the state, FEMA, if some dollars are made available. But at this time, it's too early in the event to tell whether or not that's going to happen.
Anyone else? Yeah, in the back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Mary Williams. I'm just a concerned citizen, but I'm also a United States Army veteran too. So I have a question for Mike and for Bart. Back in 2011, we had a severe drought here. It was really bad. I don't remember having a bad taste of water like we've been having this past summer. I don't remember even having told times that we could water our grass. We couldn't water our grass. However, why did we have to flush the system this time? And not only that, but what was that horrible smell that came from our faucets, the discoloration? And secondly, are we still depending on Hardin County for our water wells and reservoirs? Thank you.
I wasn't operating the water system in 2011, so I can't speak to whether there was any free chlorine conversion or not. But the reason that we had to do a free chlorine conversion this time is because we were having nitrification issues in the distribution system. And due to the extreme temperatures, ramping those up, there was no way to maintain chlorine residuals without a free chlorine conversion. That's the only tool in the toolbox to eliminate the nitrification.
Why did it have to happen this summer? Why not last summer? I can speak up. They can hear me now. Why did it have to happen this summer? I'm just curious because, of all summer, why this summer? We're in a drought already. Y'all have to do work with the drink.
I can't answer why we had nitrification this summer and not last summer. Last summer, we were able to get through it without having to have a free chlorine conversion. This summer, we needed one in order to eliminate the nitrification. The odor comes from when that chloramine interacts with the free chlorine in the system. Now that we're back on chloramines this week, we should be fine. We shouldn't have those interactions anymore.
If that's all the questions, we'll wrap it up. Okay.
I guess another way to phrase her question also is, if we hadn't had done this, what problems with the nitrification would that have caused?
If you cannot maintain chlorine residuals in your system per state regulations, then you have to issue a boil water notice, and that would have been citywide.
So would you say that's why it had to be this summer?
That's why when you get to that point and you can't maintain those chlorine residuals because of the nitrification, you have to perform a free chlorine conversion, and that's outlined on TCQ's site as a process that's recommended.
We appreciate everyone's time. And, oh, Mr. Durio?
Just one question. As part of the stage 3 water restrictions that we're in, it doesn't mention soil for slabs. Are those allowed?
During posted hours, yes, sir.
If that's it, we will wrap up, and we appreciate everyone for coming out and for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.